Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and my question today is, would you like to see a classic incarnation of the Master come back in Modern Who? Now, Jeffrey Beavers is still with us, and so he could reprise his role as the kind of decayed, burnt version of the Master that featured in The Deadly Assassin and The Keeper of Traken. Of course, he played him in The Keeper of Traken. And we could always bring that version of the Master back. We could even bring him before he got burnt back. We could actually see perhaps the story where he gets disfigured, and perhaps it's the Doctor that's at least partly responsible for him getting disfigured. Maybe that would explain why he has such a grudge against the Doctor in The Deadly Assassin and The Keeper of Traken, where he seems a lot more antagonistic and menacing towards the Doctor than he did previously. And maybe it's because the Doctor is partially responsible for his disfigurement. I'm sure Big Finish has touched on that before, but you know, Big Finish canon and how canon it is up in the air anyway. But, you know, you could have that in the show proper, have him appear just normal and then have him get disfigured, or you could just have the disfigured version show up. Or you could bring back the Delgado or Ainley Masters. Of course, in that case, you would have to recast. And there's a couple questions you have to ask yourself. For me, the lesser important question is it okay to recast? To recast someone playing Anthony Ainley's Master, or to recast someone playing Delgado's Master. I think people might be a little more willing with Ainley's Master, but I really think you're going to be hard-pressed to convince people it's okay to recast Delgado's Master, because Delgado's Master is held within pretty high reverence by a lot of the fandom. He's my favorite version of the Master. Delgado is just so good in that role. I don't know if you could recast somebody that's just going to nail that role the way he nails that role. And so that's a hard ask. But for me, the trickier ask and the even harder problem is, do you trust the modern team, Russell T. Davies and his team, to do justice to these classic incarnations of the Master? Again, probably more concerningly with Delgado's Master. Or are you concerned they'd screw it up? Because while I am concerned about recasting Delgado, of course I am, because Delgado was so good in that role, my bigger concern would be that they wouldn't get his Master right, or that they would somehow not do the character justice. Like, Anthony Ainley's Master at least came across as kind of comedic at times anyway, kind of pantomime at times anyway, which isn't Anthony Ainley's fault, it's just the way it was done sometimes. Now, Ainley, of course, could nail the role well. He does it pretty good in Legopolis. He also does it very well in Survival, where he's much more serious. But with Delgado's version, there's just such a presence that Delgado brought to the role. There's such... He has that... Well, he could be menacing when he wants, but he also has this charisma where you see how he's able to hypnotize people and sway people to his way of thinking. That I just feel like the current production team, especially considering what Russell's doing with Davros, I feel like they would screw up. My bigger fear is not recasting someone in Delgado's role. It's that they wouldn't be able to nail the character properly or do him justice or do their due diligence researching the character to do him justice. If it was announced that Delgado's Master was coming back, or that, you know, the end of an episode was him stepping out, part of me at first would be like, ooh, and then immediately it would set in, I'd be like, ooh. Because how do you live up to Delgado's Master? How do you stay true to that? So my question is, do you think that could be done? Would you be okay with them doing that? Would you have serious reservations for them doing that? And Anthony Ainley's. Would you be cool if they brought back the Anthony Ainley Master? Or do you think they should just leave the classic Masters in classic Doctor Who? And if you're going to bring the Master back, which, let's be honest, they don't need to bring the Master back for a while, would you rather them just either bring back Shaster Dewan's version of the Master, or just bring a new incarnation of the Master that you'd like, you know what, if you're going to bring back the Master, just do a new Master and don't ruin my old Masters? Would you rather them just leave classic Masters in classic Who and not risk bothering that? Or are you cool with them? Hey, if you can get it, if you can nail it, if you can cast well, if you can write well, why not? I love that version of the Master. I want to know your thoughts on that. Me? I don't know. I'd be more willing to let them try the Anthony Ainley Master. you'd have to have a convincing reason for me why you would need to have those classic versions. It would have to be more than just, hey, look, we brought back a classic master. It would have to be more than that. There would have to be a reason why it's a classic master. Like, again, if you're bringing back the decayed burnt master, that would be cool because it'd be interesting to see maybe the story of how he got like that and why he's so angry at the Doctor. That would be kind of cool to see played out, where he goes back in time on the Doctor's timeline to maybe try to kill the Doctor before the Doctor does that to him. Something like that would be pretty cool. With Ainley's and Delgado's masters, I have to have a good reason why their masters are there. Now, if you're doing a really good multi-master story, and let me tell you, I am all up for a multi-master story. And if you did a multi-master story, then yes, I think there should be at least one classic master there. Somehow, I think you should have one classic master. But I would be fine with bringing Missy back, especially if it's, you know, like Missy before she kind of turned good, like still dark Missy. You know, bringing John Sims back, bringing Sasha Dewan back, bringing Derek Jacobi as the War Master back. I don't know how old Derek Jacobi is now and if he'd be up for something like that, but I would entertain the idea as long as, like, I guess the Doctor didn't see his version of the Master because he's not supposed to recognize his version. You can't break canon there. And then you'd need at least one classic Master in the mix, and so I'd be fine with being, you know, burnt, crispy Master, or bringing in Anthony Ainley's Master. The one I'd be most apprehensive about is Delgado's Master. That you have to get that right. But Ainley's Master, I'd be a little more lenient on, because I feel like you have a little more wiggle room there. So I want to know what you think of this video topic, so comment down below and let's talk about it. And how much do you want a multi-master story in Modern Who? I'd love to see that. Well, depending on how well it's written. The new team doesn't exactly fill me with confidence. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. There's a link to that down there as well. I also want to give a shout out to a couple of my top tier patrons, Sam Venning and Colin Coney. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons and my YouTube members. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. A link to my Amazon wish list is down there. A link to my Amazon UK wish list is also down there as well. Feel free to check those out. I do update those fairly regularly. And most importantly, thank you for watching.